Whether it's a lager or an ale, whether it's a stout, light, dark, or pale. If you can brew it, Chad can review it. It's time for Chad's Beer Reviews. He's not quite an amateur, not quite a connoisseur, but regardless of the brewer, he's got taste in beer for sure.
You can tell just by his gut, this guy is a bona fide beer nut.
So whether it's a porter or an IPA, whether it's from Europe or the USA, if you can brew it, Chad can review it. It's time for Chad's Beer Reviews.
Welcome to another episode of Chad's Beer Reviews. Back in the kitchen. Haven't done one in here in a while. I'm drinking a really special beer tonight, and it's also, I got to give a shout out to Jeremy and Jason because they gave me this beer when I was down there. This was Weyerbacher Insanity. This is their Blithering Idiot, their barley wine aged in oak barrels. There's no more description of it on the bottle, but I just saw on the website, like it says to look for vanilla, plum, raisin, kind of like a bourbon taste to it. This is definitely an imperial beer. It's 11.1% ABV. Now it should be drank out of a snifter, but I don't have one, so just going to use my Brown's, non pint glass here. I'm not a big fan of barley wines, and I'm not a big fan of imperial beers, but I'm actually excited about this one because it got an A- on Beer Advocate and a 95 on ratebeer.com. So there's obviously a lot of people that like this beer. So hopefully I will too. I'm sure Jay would like this probably even more than I would. It's going to be a very malty beer, heavy beer. Well, it's just almost like kind of like a rusty color. And it's a very hazy, cloudy body. You can't even see through it. It's a brown kind of caramel color, very dark amber, I guess would be the right way to describe it. The head is off-white, kind of foamy. Been getting the habit of swirling up the beers. That's what a lot of the beer connoisseurs do. See what kind of lacing it gets just from the swirl. I can smell it as soon as I pour it. It's a very malty beer. Yeah, it smells kind of like a butterscotch kind of smell. I can smell the alcohol too. This is like probably the second most potent beer that I ever drank. So I had the Dogfish Head 120, and that was 21% ABV. This is 11.1, so we're about halfway there. But it's a big beer, so let's see how it measures up. Whew. That's like drinking hard liquor. That's like as soon as I take a taste, like the first thing I get is like actually a lot of flavors. I am getting like kind of a plum, raisin, and vanilla, but as it finishes, you're getting that alcohol taste, kind of like like I said, look for a bourbon or whiskey kind of flavor. Well, and it's leaving this like really alcoholic aftertaste in the bite. It's kind of like a rubbing alcohol kind of flavor, and it definitely warms as it goes down. Very and I just got this out of the fridge, as you can see the bottle's all sweaty. Really potent beer here. Very malty. Very, very malty. Not much hops in this at all. There's no real bite to it. I mean, you can hear me, clucking my tongue, but it's because it does have a lot of malt flavor here. It's very, very rich. It's not sugary though. It's much more smooth. Yeah, I mean it's okay. I'm just not a fan of big beers, especially malty beers. And I'm not a fan of barley wine, so don't take my word for it on this one because the deck is stacked against this beer with me because don't like big beers, don't like barley wines, don't like malty beers. So it's really hard for me to. I mean, I can't imagine myself going crazy over this beer. It's soft, gentle mouthfeel though. It's very thick, very very thick. It's almost kind of like a syrupy kind of quality. I mean, obviously this is, just a regular beer. It has some pretty good lacing on the glass too. And there is a lot of flavor. It's just malts. I'm just gonna finish this up, and we'll come back to my final thoughts and grade. Oh, hey, I'm back. I was criticizing this beer a lot, but then I kind of think I wanted to say some good things about it. I mean, it's got a lot of flavor. You get that vanilla and kind of whiskey bourbon flavor to it. Some kind of plum raisin flavor in there, like it said on their website. Definitely detect that. And, to its credit, it's not bad tasting. As much as I am not a fan of barley wines and big beers, this is actually rather drinkable. Beers like this are actually supposed to be served a little bit warmer, but, I thought the beginning of the beer was better than the end. But it actually is really tasty, though. Like, you get a lot of vanilla in it. Like, it's a very complex palate. So, I mean, you can't accuse it of just being plain or whatever like that. It's definitely not a plain beer. It is very alcoholic, but it's supposed to be the point. That's the point of imperial beers, and it's the point of barley wines to begin with. And the drinkability is actually rather high. It's not a hard beer to drink. Like, you kind of have to drink it in sips though, just because it's so rich. So I can still actually honestly recommend this beer. Just barely, but I can still recommend it. So I'm going to give a 6 to Weyerbacher Insanity. I think I had the Blithering Idiot, but I'm not sure. Jeremy gave me a 6-pack that he made from there when he went on a tour. And the next night I was at my friend's house in New Jersey, and him and we just kind of went through the whole 6-pack except for this one, because we were already 3 sheets to the wind by the time we got to this one. It was like 11.1. Save that for another time. So yeah, I mean, and this is kind of like one of those very few reviews where, even though I'm not crazy about the beer, like, I can honestly recommend it. And it's like, 'cause I have a lot of respect for very crafty, very big beers like this. So I think the Sauce would love this beer. Jay would probably like this beer a lot. Give me an Imperial IPA, not an Imperial barley wine. So, anyways, I'm sure I rambled on too long, so I'm gonna end this now. That's a 6 out of 10 for Weyerbacher Insanity. Thanks to Jeremy for hooking me up with this beer. And if you like what you see, please subscribe. And please rate and comment on the video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Somebody brewed it, Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Review. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.